All right, guys, welcome to Children of Dionysus. Today's guest is a friend of mine, someone I've known for a little while, a very talented actress. I've seen her play everything from a hood rat to a vampire to a housewife. She is the queen of co-stars. The woman has many, many credits, and she's been on many great shows. And I'm very excited. Katie Kong, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Ooh, a queen of co-stars and Ratchet. I like the intro.
Yeah. I've seen you play everything. Like you played Ratchet Chicks, you played, what is it, like debutantes and stuff like that. You're very, very, um, you're a good character actor. So I'm glad to have you on.
Appreciate it.
Uh,
Appreciate it.
how's
As
your day
Anthony
going?
says, the universe lives inside us. And
Yes,
anyway,
it does.
yes,
Yes, it
day's going
does.
great.
Well, for the people
Day's
that,
going.
yeah, sorry, for the people that don't know, you mentioned Anthony. Anthony Abison is a coach that you and I trained in together. So sorry, your day is going. You said your day
Good.
is going
Yeah,
great.
even better now that I'm here with you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. So, yeah. How's your
Nice.
day?
My day's going really well. It's kind of low key. It's like here in New York, it's gonna rain, I think, any second now.
Uh,
Uh, yeah, some sort of a thunderstorm or whatever, but it's all good. It's been like super nice the past week in the city, and so
ooh,
sometimes rain comes and you just got to deal with it, especially when we had a pretty light
you just
summer.
gotta.
So
That's true. That's
yeah.
true.
So you are where are you right now?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina right now, but I did live in the city for about 10 years before relocating here for more space and a little bit better quality of life. But I'm represented in the North, in New York, LA, and the Southeast market. So I come back whenever a job calls for me or I travel. Open to hire anywhere, basically.
Nice. Where were you born?
I'm originally from Northern Virginia,
Okay.
just like 15 minutes outside of Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
kind of known as like the DMV area or like Nova, Northern Virginia. So everything is super close. So I'm like super close to DC, really close to Maryland. And so it was really nice to kind of grow up around that circle.
Were your parents in the military?
No, no. My parents immigrated here from China,
Okay.
but at the time, DC had like a huge Chinatown. Like it was where all of the immigrants from China would like land themselves when they came here. So they kind of situated themselves in DC, created this gigantic Chinatown, and like it was so nice growing up in that environment because I would like play with my cousins literally on the streets of DC, playing hide and seek, like on the street, like running behind dumpsters of restaurants to like hide, and kids would just kind of like come and find you. Um, but yeah, anyway, huge Chinese population then, not so much now. It's changed quite a bit, but no, my parents were not in the military. Long-winded way of answering the question.
What did they do? Or what do they
My
do if they still do
dad's
it?
Yeah, my dad's a mechanic, and my mom is a lunch lady for elementary school kids, which she
Oh.
loves because all of the kids are super cute. And they love her, no surprise.
So your dad's a mechanic and your mom is a lunch lady. How'd you become an actress?
Ooh, I would say I had always wanted to be an actress. I always wanted to like act, but I didn't really know what that was. I didn't know how to get into it, and my parents really um, wanted me to get a job in something that was stable. So they'd kind of guide me toward the direction of maybe a doctor, maybe an engineer, maybe a lawyer, something stable, something high paying, and like something that requires you to study really hard. So that was kind of acting was not in the path for me growing up.
Mm.
I tried. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to make my parents happy and I wanted to be able to provide for them. So I like went to school. I went to Virginia Tech, didn't know what I wanted to study, so it was kind of undecided major.
Mm.
And ended up being like, well, I kind of hate this. I don't really know what I want to do. Maybe fashion's the way to go. And so I decided to transfer to FIT in New York, and did fashion school, got my degree, and was like, this is not it for me either. Um, but I actually started modeling at FIT. A lot of the girls in my class were beautiful and like driven and like so smart. And they were models or they were actors or they were musicians. They were doing something in the creative field aside from fashion. And I was like, well,
Mhm.
this sounds interesting. I'd like to give it a try. So I got myself an agent and a modeling agent. I did a few like commercials. I've done a couple print things. I've walked New York Fashion Week, and then my modeling agent actually got me my first co-star role on Billions. I remember like I went into that audition. I got that audition, and I was like, "I'm sorry, what? I'm not an actor. I'm a model. Like, what do you mean?" So I get into the audition and I'm staring straight into the barrel of this camera, which is not what you want to do as an actor, right? But the casting director was so nice. She was like, "Okay, now try it again, but don't look at the camera this time. Just look at me, like we're having a conversation." And so like I do, and I think I had one line, which was like, "Yes." Like that was it. Um, and so I ended up booking it, but I was like, I don't know what I just did. I'm not going to get it. And then I did. And so I get onto set and I learned really quickly, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is such an unfamiliar world. People are telling you where to go. There are 100 moving parts, a ton of people, crew, and you're just kind of being shuffled around. So this was my experience, but I loved it. I was like, this is what a set looks like. This is like what it takes to like make just one scene. Um, and so I was like, listen, I'm here. I have this experience. I really want to do this. I need to know what I'm doing. Like I can't just roll up and be like, hi. So I got myself into acting class and I did a lot of research. I tried to find like acting coaches, and New York is great in that way where there are so many classes, so
Mhm.
many wonderful acting teachers. But that's also, um, I think, the maybe the also kind of the bad part about it. You don't know which one to pick. You don't know what style you like, what style of teaching. Um, you should go into or what they even are as someone who's starting out. So I got really overwhelmed with all the choices. And then I watched this BuzzFeed video of all things, a BuzzFeed video featuring Anthony Abeson. And I was like, I like what this guy is saying. Um, Let me look into him. And his classes required you to audition. And I was like, oh man, should I do it? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, all of these other classes at these other studios, they don't require me to audition. Like, should I just go in and to one of those other ones, learn something and then audition? Like, but I was like, no, like, if I want to do this, I should give it a try. I really like him. Like, let's really work at it. So I picked a monologue. I like rehearsed it. I put in some headphones, walked around the streets, like as I was going from class or to work or whatever, just talking to myself, like reciting the monologue. I put the headphones in so I didn't look like a crazy person, but like I wanted to do my best. And so when I went in to audition for Anthony, like I did it. Um, and he was like, okay, as Anthony does. He's like this old man, like, okay. So tell me about yourself. And I was like, what? You just we're gonna talk now? I thought you just wanted me to audition. Um, but long story short, uh, we really hit it off. I really liked him and he accepted me. And then the next day I was in class learning all that I could. And here we are today. Co-star queen, as you say. I've literally booked 7 co-stars on like network TV shows, indie films, commercials, and I'm super grateful that um, although an unconventional path, I'm really grateful that I took the chance to, I guess, believe in myself and be like, hey, like I want this. Let's go after it. Let's learn how to do this because it's not easy. And I don't want to show up to set when the time comes and not know what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of my origin story as an actress.
Um, did you ever have an inkling as a little girl, maybe, that this is something you wanted to
Oh,
do?
oh heck yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was a little girl and I was like watching I was watching I don't know, like Disney, Nickelodeon, all these like shows and I was like, "Oh, I really want to do that." Like how do you do that? And I literally thought as a kid, I was like, oh my God, people are just recording these people's lives. Like these aren't actors. This is like these are real people. It
Right.
was like reality TV, but scripted. But I was a child. I didn't quite understand that like, oh no, like these are actors. Like they're getting paid to do this. They're being told like paid to tell a story. Um, but as I grew up and like got into like watched films in theaters, I'd literally go to the theater every single Friday with my friends and we'd watch whatever was going on that Friday. And I loved it, just being in the theater, just like watching these movies, some good, some not so good. Um, but like it was just fun, you know, and what's really amazing, I think, about film is that one, it like transports you to a wholly, like a completely different world. And I think that's what I also love about being the actor. You yourself get to transport yourself, and in turn, you spread that to the audience as well. Um, the second is just another thing that I love about film is you're able to tell a story that someone hmm, like may never even like have access to. I think like it opens you up to completely different worlds, completely different lives of people, of humans, of like a fantasy, like outside. You get to see what's inside someone else's imagination, or you get to see what's like if you're, how do I say this? I think it's really cool to be able to see all of the different stories play out in front of you and not only have to rely on your imagination because it can only take you so far with your own experience, right? Like when you see a film about like Abraham Lincoln, you're like, oh, I get to like transport myself back into that time. I get to see what that period was like versus like kind of picking it up off of a book and being like, oh, well, they wore that these coats and these women wore these corsets. I get to like see it. I get to picture it more vividly, and I think that's what's really exciting about the medium of the visual medium of film and TV.
Love that. Um, Take me through. So your parents immigrated from China. Where in China are your parents from?
They're from Toisan or
Is that the
Toisan.
north or the south?
It's the south. It's like my geography isn't great, so maybe your audience can fact check me, but I think it's in the southeast. Um, it's not super far from Guangzhou, which is where like mo it's which is like the major city that you'd
Okay.
fly into, and then like drive you could like drive 2 hours, excuse me, 2 hours to Toisan. But it's more outside of the outside of the city in a rural-ish area of China.
Wow. And so that's a very far way for them to travel and then to
Yeah,
establish
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
life. Can you walk me through a little bit as a first generation? You were born here though, right?
I was. Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm a first generation American. My parents come from DR, the Dominican Republic, and so I'm always
Mhm.
curious to find out from first generation like Americans with their experiences, like because like we always kind of have one foot in the old world and one foot in the new. You know, like you're at home and doing the thing, you're eating the food and speaking the language, but then like you're here, going to school here and watching TV and stuff. So walk me a little bit through your parents' journey and what brought them all the way to America and why that area and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my parents came here when they were teenagers.
Mhm.
And at the time in China, I think things were not going very well. um, um,
Was this the
that
Cultural
part of
Revolution?
history.
Was this the Cultural
I'm not
Revolution?
into, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay,
It's not something that they like to share details
right,
about.
makes
And
sense.
what my father told me recently was that like when they moved here, they were kids and their parents, didn't want them to know or they couldn't say anything. Because
Okay,
if they did and their children spread the word, they could have gotten in trouble. Something could have happened. So my as my dad said when he came here he didn't know that he was coming to America. It was just that like one day his parents woke him up, got him up, said let's go. They ended up on a plane and then they ended up in America.
wow,
They got their citizenship, like they were sponsored by another family member who was here, but like I think at the time like they were leaving something and hope and coming to America for a better life, like a better place to settle their family and kind of grow their family. So I have a huge appreciation for them because it's not easy coming to a whole different country, not
no,
speaking the language, not knowing anybody. Like, um, it was tough. So I think some of the values they instilled in me is, the value of hard work and of perseverance. And like, just because you don't know something doesn't mean like, you can't learn and you can't pick yourself up. Like, if you're down, like, life isn't easy. Um, but you make it what you want it to be. And that's exactly what they did. My dad like owns his own shop now, coming from nothing, like bussing tables, and my mom like, she's doing her thing at a public school. She loves it. It's hard work, but they put food on the table and they raised me, so I'm really grateful for that.
great. And did you ever feel like you speak Cantonese and Mandarin, right?
I speak Cantonese. I speak like broken Mandarin because I
Okay.
learned my family speaks Chinese, Cantonese. So I grew up speaking Cantonese. Um, but I wanted to learn Mandarin because that's the like official language of China.
Hmm.
So whenever I go back, um, I know enough Mandarin to get by, but not enough to like be able to have a blown out conversation. At this point, I'm like using Duolingo to like get better at it. So something on the horizon. One day
Are
I'll
they
be fluent.
are they similar? Are they similar enough, or are they really different?
They're different. They're different. I think I would compare it to Spanish and Portuguese.
Mm,
Like they're
okay.
similar, right? But not so much where um like words are different, and at least that's my impression. I think like Portuguese and Spanish are similar, but
Mm,
they're like different languages. So you may be able to get by and understand some Spanish if you're Portuguese, but like it's not, there are differences. It's not exactly a one-to-one match.
that's a great analogy. There is one that's easier to understand than the other. So I think if like you're Portuguese, you can understand Spanish a little easier than if you're Spanish trying to understand Portuguese. So there one of them,
Ah,
one of the two that's like a little bit like you could probably get away just maybe if you don't speak the language, you can understand what they're trying to say.
I think it may be if you speak Cantonese, you can understand Mandarin a little bit better, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't go the other way around.
Okay.
That's my experience. Yeah.
Have you
It's my
been have,
experience.
have you been to China?
I have, yeah. I was just there back in March. So, but I had gone um a few times when I was like a kid, so like around 7, and then again when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to see how much that country has changed just from like when I was there as a kid. Like it wasn't when I went as a child, I visited my mom's village. And it was like rural, like super rural. There were no like tall buildings. Like it was farmland and like these kind of like small cement kind of like buildings
Mm.
where the families would live. And now I went back after going back recently, like everything is super high tech. Like, and the little village completely built up. There are stores, there are grocery stores, there are hotels, like there's you pay everything with your phone now. Like there are actual roads. Like before it was like just this dirt path and I was like, where are we? There's air conditioning. Like you don't understand. China gets hot. So like air conditioning was just wow. Um, it was amazing. I would highly recommend visiting China at least once. It's definitely like a sight to see for sure.
What are some of the things for you as someone who grew up as an American but someone of Chinese descent, like that China maybe differs from America in terms of the experience?
Sorry, could you say that again?
So sorry, I didn't phrase that well. In what ways you're like, oh, everyone should visit China? What are some of the reasons why, like from your experience?
Gotcha. I think culturally it's a completely different experience.
In what way?
Well, there is there's like a certain how do I say this? There's kind of like a polite society, like a politeness in America. Like we follow um we'll walk in line. Like you'll walk on the right side, people will like walk towards you on the other side.
Yeah.
In China, it's not like that. It's just like it's a free for all. If you want to get somewhere, you're gonna go. Like there's no like I experienced this trying to get onto the subway train
Yeah.
in China. And like New York is very much the same. You kind of like crowd into the subway. Um, but like everywhere I went in China, it was just kind of like no, it's time, and you see a huge crowd just kind of like push through. There's that. People are kind of just a little bit more direct in China. They'll like tell you straight up, like, "Hey, you smell like," or "Hey, like, get out of my way." "Hey, like, that's not how you do this. Are you stupid?" But like, it's not in a mean way. It's just kind of like they don't have time, and like, it's I think it's similar to New York in that way, but there's like that understanding of maybe I'm not explaining this very well, but um, I think culturally the people are different. They definitely have like Chinese pride. They are very welcoming as well. Um, but like just kind of like from the line perspective of like common courtesy with people, that doesn't quite exist in the way that it does here in America, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so that you're saying they're a little bit more forthright. Like this is how I feel. This is what's up. This is what I see. This is what I experience, and they're gonna let you know. Basically, is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah. They're just like, I'm gonna get it. If you don't get it, you're too slow. It's not my problem. That's kind of the attitude.
Right. Were your are your parents still like that?
My mom is not. My
Okay.
dad can be sometimes. So yeah.
How real is the Tiger Mom thing? Is that just a myth, or is that pretty accurate?
Oh my God, 100%. It's like, oh my God, Mom, I have an A minus. And she's like, why isn't it an A? Why? What? Um, no, but in their nice way. I think it's just they want their children to succeed and not have to suffer or go through the hardships that they went through. Um, so Tiger Mom, I think, totally exists, but it comes from a place of love, if done with that in mind.
Nice. How how close are you, when it comes to me, right? Like I still eat the food, dance to the music, speak Spanish, the whole
Mm,
thing. So being Hispanic and having Dominican culture is still very much a part of my life. I live in a Dominican neighborhood.
mm.
Um, how much is your Chinese heritage a part of your daily life? How does it play in?
It's definitely something I am aware of and really try to incorporate in my daily life because it's important. I think it's like it's part of who I am. Um, I still eat the food. I love it. My mom makes me soup whenever I visit like home. She like sends me home with a ton of like homemade soup and like these like wrapped rice balls. She'll basically send me home with like all of her cooking. Because I don't live because she lives in Virginia and I live in North Carolina, but I try to eat the food as much as I can. I try to talk to my mom as much as I can to like keep the language um uh keep practicing the language, I guess. Um because I think it's because as I get older, I think I'm realizing that as a child, I really wanted to fit in, um,
Mhm.
and fit into American culture. And I think it goes to your point of what you were trying to say earlier, like how much pull do I feel of the old world versus trying to fit into the new? Like
Right.
growing up, before I went to school, I only spoke Chinese. And so when I started like kindergarten, you're a kid, you pick up language easily, but I think going in not knowing English was kind of like, oh, like what's going on? So you kind of feel like the outcast. And so you want to be part of this American culture, American society, and like be, I think it's very primal. You want to be part of the group, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of how um how we as humans like are.
Hmm.
So growing up, I rejected everything that was Chinese. I wanted to be American. I wanted to speak the language. I was like, no, I'm not Chinese. Like my parents are from China, but like I'm here. I speak English, um, but now as I get older, I really wish I hadn't done that. I think I wish I like incorporated more of my Chinese heritage, like learning the language, like being better at speaking Cantonese or learning Mandarin or like understanding the significance of of the high holidays like Chinese New Year or like the moon festivals, and like understanding like the importance of the snacks. And when we go like pay respects to our elders, like there's a ritual that happens where we bring food like roast duck to our grandma's grave, and we burn like these like fake money in a tin can type of thing, as like it's money for our elder or ancestors to use in the afterlife. And so like I didn't understand the importance of that as a child, and I wish that I had so that I could really like take it with me into adulthood and pass that on to my children whenever that day comes. But I'm definitely trying to, instead of separate myself from the old world, really find a way to balance, like live with both, because I am both. So trying to find a way to kind of merge the best of those worlds.
You mentioned like as you got older, was there a specific instance or was there um just a realization or a revelation that caused you to say, let me maybe see if I need to reconnect with this a little bit more?
It was moving away from my family and kind of just seeing my parents get older.
Mm.
Um, it's tough because you think of your parents as like they're never going to age. They're
Yeah.
immortals. They'll be here forever.
Yeah.
But that's not the truth. Things change. Um, Life has an ending, and so there have been various like health issues in my family, and I think seeing that time is precious, and I don't really have it to waste. It's kind of like snapping into it and be like, oh well, you know, I shouldn't reject this part of my myself because it's my family. Like it's where I come from. Um,
Right.
so since then, I've been trying to like be more mindful of calling my mom or being like, okay, this holiday's coming up. Like, should I get these snacks that are traditional? Should I like, do these things that these certain rituals that my parents used to do. So yeah, it was just seeing my parents get older, and then I guess generally um, maturing myself as an adult.
Yeah. Mortality will do that to you. Hold on. It's
I
like
know.
you're like, wait a second. This is gonna
Wait.
end someday. Yeah, it's like,
Someday. Not today.
someday.
Excuse
Not
me.
today, but someday this shit's gonna be over. Oh God. Okay.
Right.
I think that good for you, first of all. Because I definitely empathize with that, like wanting to fit in and wanting to like, no, I'm not, because when you move to America, people don't realize it's sort of like when you move to a place, you do have to leave things behind. Like the reason you're moving is because okay, there's something I want or I need in this place that it's not giving me or I don't have the opportunity. Therefore, I need to go. But the act of taking yourself, uprooting yourself, and rooting yourself in another place, something has to die. Um,
Yeah.
but it leaves us a little bit kind of uprooted because like you said,
Mm.
it's like this is who I am, this is where I come from. I don't know about you, like when you went to China, I'd love to hear, but when I went to DR, like as an adult, I went when I was a kid, but as an
Mm.
adult, as a grown man, and I realized I was like, you look like my uncle, you look like my dad. I was like, what the fuck? Like people were speaking
Yes.
that I didn't know, but I was like, this is oddly familiar and it freaked me out because I'm in America, right? Like, and even though there's Dominicans here, it's a whole different animal when you're in the place, you're in the
Oh
motherland.
yeah.
So did you have a similar experience when you went to China and you were like,
100%. I was like, oh my God, like my grandma wears that. Is that my grandma? Like, like
yeah,
I was like, wait, that's my grandpa just does that too. Excuse me. I was like, family? It's weird, right? It's weird
right,
when you go back to, I guess, like the motherland and you're confronted with people that look like you. Everyone looks like you. The
yeah.
language, you like, you can hear it more, and it's just like
Mhm.
the sense of familiarity, but also um a sense of being foreign. Like it's like familiar but foreign. It's like a little internal
Mm,
battle between
yeah,
you. It's like I recognize that this is where I come from, but I feel like a foreigner observing
right.
rather than being, you know, like feeling like I belong here.
Well, it's wild because it's like you look like they do and you do speak the language, but you're seeing it through an American lens.
Right.
I had that experience where I was like, I can't believe this isn't work. I was like, I'm not in
Yes.
New York. I was like, wait a second. I'm upset about this not functioning the way that I'm accustomed to it functioning. I'm not in New York anymore. Okay, hold on a second. You know what I mean? Because it's just
Let
like
me,
it
yes.
functions. Yeah. And that's really interesting. That's so funny. I have spoken to so many people and it's the same story. I was like, I thought I was the only one, but it's like and
Mm-mm.
it's a cool I don't know about you, but like I always think it's kind of cool because like you can dip your foot in two different worlds kind of seamlessly. Was that your
Yeah.
experience?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Um, it wasn't for me. I think um, it's very clear. The distinction is very clear when you're in
Yes.
China, whether you're like really like from China or if you're American born. They like even have a word for
Mm,
it. They're like, you're ABC. Like we can tell you're not from
they
China.
call they
You're
call
you, oh,
ABC.
ABC, like American born Chinese. They're like they're like, you kind of look like us, but you're not one of us.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so which was a shock, but like it was still kind of like it was interesting. So it was interesting to be a part of. I think like when you're American, you can kind of also see like when you're here, you kind of like know who the foreigners are, right?
Right,
Because they
right.
kind of like move through society a little differently. So that was my experience in China too. Like I could sort of fit in, but like I stood out. I was like, I'm not quite.
What for you, like if you could pinpoint kind of what are the slight, I know exactly what you're talking about because I experienced the same thing in
Mm.
DR, but like what are kind of slight differences? Is it mannerisms or just ways of being that you noticed?
Yeah, I think I think the clothing for sure. Like they just dress differently there.
Even
I
their
think
casual, even their casual
even
like
their
everyday clothes.
casual, yeah,
Okay.
even their casual everyday clothes, they are either really put together or they're very like or it's like t-shirt and sweat and like sweatpants, but like kind of like nice t-shirt sweatpants
Okay.
in slides. It's not like in America you'd see like t-shirt, shorts, Crocs. It would be like they'd be kind of like a conservatively dressed, even just going out. It's still kind of a little put together. Whereas in America, it's like
Okay.
you can literally roll out of bed and be like, I'm walking out to get some lunch. Like
Right.
it's not quite like that. So I think that was the the main difference that I noticed. Like even the clothes that I brought, like I'd wear long sleeves, but like jean shorts, and I noticed not a lot of people did that just walking
Yeah.
out. And it's summer, so it made me stick out a little bit more. But I think that's like that's what I noticed at least. It was the clothing was a little different that kind of made me stick out.
Do you watch a lot of Chinese cinema?
No, I don't.
There's
I
so many
don't. Do you
good
watch a lot of
movies.
Dominican? Do you?
I do. I do. I watch a decent amount of Dominican cinema. Yeah.
Mm.
There's so many great Chinese, especially out of Hong Kong, is really good.
Mm, yes. Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
do. I've seen the Wong Kar-wai in the Mood for Love.
That's the one with the
That's
couple,
lots of
the
fun.
guy and the girl. And
Hmm
they have like an
hmm
affair or something, and then it just doesn't sort of
Well,
work out.
their partners have an affair with each other,
Right.
and yeah. It's like a beautifully shot film, and I think all of those like old Hong Kong like style movies,
Mm,
so good. I've seen them. Not anything recent coming out of China though.
nice. What are some of your inspirations as an actress?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, the first one that comes to mind is I really love Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
Um, when I was a kid, I saw her in Miss Congeniality, and she played this FBI agent who is kind of like the ugly duckling. And then she gets put into a beauty pageant, like a Miss America beauty pageant, because she has to like. The plot of this movie is insane, but it's so fun looking back at it. It's she gets put into this Miss America pageant because it's going to get bombed by this person. So she's trying to uncover it while being a contestant and saving this pageant from explosion. But I loved watching her, not just in that, but she's done a few other things, and she's just kind of like um, what I love about her acting, I think, is that she's funny, and she also has the ability to kind of make you um, feel something while also playing a serious role. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of really incredible actors can do that too. It's just she's the first one where I noticed that I really liked what she was doing. I really liked how she made me feel watching this ridiculous film as a child. Um, but aside from her, I think um, I'm a big fan of Nick Cage, like Nicolas Cage as well. Um, because he's so fearless. Like he will do anything, and you can kind of see him transform. He has a lot of haters, I understand, but like
People
he's
hate Nick
fun.
Cage?
What he People hate. There's a huge community, I think, that hate Nick Cage.
Really?
But I love him. I
I like
know,
Nick
going from
Cage.
like, yeah, right.
I
He's
like
just a
Nick Cage.
fun dude. I like that he can really lose himself in a role.
Hmm.
He can go from like comedy to like some serious horror to like just everything in between. So yeah, those are the two I can think of right now that stand out in my mind.
Nice. And what are the sorts of projects that really speak to you that you like to work on yourself?
Ooh, um, that I really like to work on. I've had the incredible opportunity to work on such amazing films. I think um, I have I've developed quite a repertoire of doing horror or thriller films. Um, and I think those are really fun. I think what I really enjoy playing, something that really calls to my instrument, something that like really just comes naturally is playing kind of a psychiatric type of patient um that's a little evil and you can't really tell if she's someone that you want to root for or someone you should be afraid of.
Mm,
Um, those kinds of psychological type of mysteries are what really interest me, and um, I've played similar characters in a short film called The Hat Man, which I really enjoyed. Displaced and yeah, quite a few others, but that's just one of the genres, one of the things that I feel most drawn to. Um,
what
if
is
ever
it
given
about
the
that?
opportunity,
What is
what
it
is
about
it?
that that draws you?
I I think that when you play characters that don't have a clear trajectory, um,
Mm,
like you don't know if they're going to be evil, you don't know if they're going to be good. You yourself, I think, are trying to figure it out as well. Like
mm,
there's this great kind of contrast that you get to play within yourself, within your kind of instrument, where it's just like um it's freeing to me, I think. Like I think it's very fun to not know where I'm going. I'm giving myself permission to kind of like act wild, act crazy, but in a contained type of way. So kind of
mm.
in the example of a psychiatric patient where you don't know if they're someone you want to help or someone that's going to turn on you. Um, I think that aspect of it, the push and pull of she's good, she's bad, is what's exciting.
Kind of like I'm hearing like the moral ambiguity, maybe an
Yeah.
anti-hero or something. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you see that with audience members too. They kind of love the villain or they kind of love
Mm-hmm.
someone that they love to hate
Sure.
because they have somewhere to go. They're not just evil for evil's sake. They can be good, or you kind of learn more about their origin story that made them become that way. Um, so yeah, kind of like a moral ambiguity type of place.
Nice. And you said if I ever got the opportunity, I cut you off a little
Oh,
bit. What were you saying?
that's okay. I would love to do like a comedy, like a Seth Rogen type of wild or like a Ben Stiller type of comedy. I think um those were also just super fun. And there were like tons of those movies in the early 2000s, I think,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that they were just like ridiculous and they were having fun. And I think like if ever given the opportunity, that's also something that I would jump at because it would be like wild, off the wall, kind of like something to play in and play with. There are like no rules. It's like no holds barred type type of thing.
I love it. How long have you been like an actress where you decided this is what I'm gonna do and been pursuing it
Yeah.
professionally?
I started in 2018. So,
Wow.
yeah, not super long, actually, kind of a bit, kind of a couple
7
years,
years.
I don't know, 7 years, 7 years ago. That's when I decided, and that's when I started taking classes. And um, I think I've been very lucky to be able to do all the things that I have booked in that amount of time. Um, yeah, I thank God, thank my lucky stars. It's been a good time.
What did you do leading up to that? Like, what did you do for work professionally?
Oh, Um, well, I was in school. I was like in college and in school, like learning fashion and um, I guess just like goofing around as a 20-something-year-old, not really know. Like, I was kind of directionless, if I'm being honest with you. I didn't really
Yeah.
know what I wanted to do. Um, and don't get me wrong, like I still have a day job. Like um, that like what I was talking about earlier, my parents' values of like work hard, try to have some sense of stability. I
Hmm.
work a day job that pays me 9 to 5 and is allows me the freedom to uh, do acting whenever the opportunities come. Um,
What do you do for
but
me?
I work at a tech company.
Oh, nice.
I won't bore you with the details, but it's not exciting work.
It's a tech work. Okay, cool.
It's a tech work. But yeah, so I was directionless before acting, and then when I really decided I wanted to do acting, I also told myself I need a way to support myself if I'm going to pursue this. So I did a bunch of like part-time jobs before then.
Hmm.
Um, and then found my way taking a data analytics course and then got myself a job from there. So that has allowed me to continue pursuing acting without having that stress of, I really need to book this acting job or else I'm not going to be able to pay my rent. I'm not going to be able to eat.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah,
Many
I
times.
mean, I feel you.
Many times.
But look at where you are now,
Right.
Mr. Boss Man.
Yeah, something like that. So data analytics, that's like such a I always marvel at like actors who get completely different jobs from something creative. Like how does that how do you do that? And like as an actor, it's like yeah, you know? Like is it one of the things like look, it's just a job, you just do it and you whatever, do you struggle with it in terms of your survival job or you kind of just make it work for yourself?
Listen, life is not without its struggles. I struggle every single day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the job itself is, or data analytics. I went into it and I was like, okay, I like organizing things. I love
Okay.
spreadsheets. I like to
You're
kind
very
of,
good at that.
I'm very, thank you.
Yeah.
I, I like, yeah, I'm like a very like I enjoy organizing things. I like to see, yeah, everything lined up, clear cut. And I was
It's
like, okay,
beautiful.
data analytics seems like the way to go. So Google has a certification course that you could just like take. And then I was like working at this school that teaches adults um, who want to transition into a tech field. So I was able
Mm.
to take the data analytics course through that and then got my job. And like the people I work with, fantastic. The job itself has challenges. I still find myself like learning every single day. But what I've learned from my 9 to 5 is um, the time management aspect of
Mm.
like, okay, I need to do the job. I also have the self-tape. I also want to practice, like rehearse whatever I'm trying to work on to better my acting. I need to cut reels. I need to like reach out um to like to directors, producers, whatever, just to like keep in touch, say like, hey, I saw you're doing this thing, like great job. I'm so excited for you. Kind of like relationship managing.
Mm.
I learned that through my 9 to 5. Like you make time for what you need to do and you need to prioritize your tasks. So if I have one takeaway from doing that, it would be the time management aspect and how it's helped me with acting as well.
I love it. You're like the most organized actress I've ever met in my entire life. Actors don't talk like that. I come from the theater, you know what I mean? We're like, let's just
I
dance.
know.
Let's just do a movement exercise.
Listen, I'm with you. Let's do it.
And you're like, we
I
need to
want to feel
prioritize and be
things.
in a. I was like, I had to learn that way later. I was like, this isn't working, man. Whatever I'm doing is wrong because my life is a hot mess. So yeah,
Well,
no, go ahead.
I will say that like I didn't learn this on my own, right? Like I think what really helped is like taking classes with and meeting people like you, like Greg, like David, like Lynn, like all of these people that we've stayed in touch with from class, like helped me get organized, helped push me forward because I'm seeing all of the wonderful things you guys are doing, and I'm like, well, no, I have to catch up. Like, what am I missing? Or, you know, I had a coffee chat with another actor that I met on a set recently, and he was just like, hey, like, can I chat with you to kind of get an understanding of where I should be going with my career because I'm new, I'm just starting. And I did that as well when I started. Like I was like, hey, can I just like have 5 minutes of your time? I want to kind of understand like where did you start? How did you get to where you are? Like, are you taking classes? Who are you taking classes with? Like, and I kind of got advice as I went along. So I didn't come up with all of this overnight. It was like stealing as or borrowing from other actors who came before me, so that I wouldn't waste time making the same mistakes they did.
Very smart. You were just like sort of. I mean, it's true. It's like sort of. It sounds to me like you found models, people that either had things that you lacked or were better in certain things, and you just chose to pick their brain a little bit and figure out what they were doing and then avoid a lot of the mistakes. I mean, you've booked what, eight, seven, is it 7 or 8 co-stars at this point?
I think seven. I think seven.
Yeah, you did 7 co-stars and you've only been doing this 7 years. You're kind of a big deal. So you should brush your shoulders off right
Oh
now.
my God.
No, but it's like I mean, it can take a long time to sort of make progress. And so I think that's really smart, you doing that way, because you really do cut the line in many respects. And so many of us there are things that you're naturally so much better at than someone else. And it's just like, why try to
Mm.
just fucking hack the friend who already
Yeah.
did this stuff? Just hack them. Like,
Exactly.
who cares, man? Um, I think it's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And you, just to give people a little bit of context, we all train with Anthony Abison, and I actually spoke to. I've interviewed Greg on this podcast, and Greg Gonzalez and David Arquilla, and we were all part of the same cohort. It was the 7 to 9 on Tuesdays and Thursdays with Anthony Abison
That's
in
right.
person. But what was incredible is we've all stuck together because you and I meet every other week. Something that you've organized, the A Money All. Thank you so much. I thank you all the time, and I thank you again because it's really what it gives me is like it gives me a bridge, like a connection, like a home, something that I can come
Yeah.
back to every other week because it can be very hard and sort of atomizing this industry. So I'm grateful for you organizing that stuff and putting all that shit together because it's been huge.
Well, I'm grateful that you come. It really wouldn't be anything without you and without the crew. It would just be myself in front of a Zoom, if not. So I got to throw it back at you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Um, uh, we all trained together at this Tuesday to Thursday thing, but really it was only like a 6 to 9 month window. And that's like is
Oh my
pretty
God, is that
wild.
right?
Yeah, there's only like a 6 to 9 month when there's like a cohort of us that are all in this. We were all in the same group, and like tons of us have had great success and done really cool things. But it was like a 6 to 9 month window where we were all in the same
Oh
room
my
at the
God.
same time before the pandemic sort of kind of blew all that stuff up. So it's just something that I want to bring,
Oh
like
my
for whatever
God.
reason, all of that magic was in one room. And I find that all success happens when you find that there's actually like cohorts of people. Like you
Mm.
realize, oh, like Johnny Depp and Nick Cage were actually roommates. It was Nick Cage who told Johnny Depp, who was a struggling musician, he's like, dude, why don't you just audition for this movie? And he's like, I'm not fucking act like I don't know what I'm doing. And like he went and did it, and then all of a sudden Edward Scissorhands and all these other things, and you figure out like
No
I think it was
way.
yeah like Robert Duvall and who's a marathon man. Why am I blanking on his voice? Major star. He was in Meet the Fockers, uh,
Oh,
The
Ben
Graduate.
Stiller?
No, not Ben
No.
Stiller. Jesus
The
Christ.
wow.
Dustin Hoffman. Dustin
Okay.
Hoffman and Robert Duvall, and I think I can't remember who the third guy was. It was another famous dude. They were all roommates together in New York at the same time. Al
Dude.
Pacino, Robert De Niro, they were all in the same classes, and so the point being, it's just like it's cohorts of people all coming up at the same
Mm,
time, feeding off one another, like you were saying, where you're like, oh well, my friend's doing
yeah.
this shit. Like, what am I not doing? I want to get on. It's like a healthy form of like comparing to one another, right? It's like, oh, I got to step
Right.
my game up, but oh, this person is. I have the same thing when I'm talking to you guys. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're so good on camera. I'm garbage. Like, no, I'm not saying I'm garbage, but like, you know what I mean?
No.
I'm like, I'm not garbage, but I'm like, oh wow, I need to step my game up, or this person's doing this. It's like a really healthy way to do it. Um,
Yeah.
Talk to me about your process a little bit, like when you're actually approaching work, because I've seen you play everything and you play it really well. This woman has played, like I said, a hood rat. I've seen her play like a debutante. I've seen her play a housewife. I've seen her play a vampire. I've seen her play fucking a moving lady. All this shit. Like you've played it
Thank
all
you.
really really well. So walk me through your process. Like you're getting a role. Boom, you got this audition. It could be a co-star, guest star, whatever. Walk us through the process of how you actually approach the work.
Okay, that's a good question. I just want to touch on something you said
Touch away.
really quickly before I move on. Um, you are who I believe the saying goes, you are who your three closest friends are,
Yeah.
or like who you surround yourself with. So I think it's really important what you brought up in that like these cohorts all pushed each other to
Mm-hmm.
succeed, and so like something that would be I just want to emphasize is you should surround yourself with people who have that same drive as you because they will only make you better. And also, this industry is so hard. You can do it
Yeah.
alone, but you know, it's nice to have friends or a community of people who really help you through it. Someone just to sound as a sounding board or someone to tell you, like, hey, that tape, phenomenal job. You didn't get it because they were too stupid to see your genius, you know,
Right.
like I think just I really wanted to emphasize that point because I think as actors it's something we can easily forget, especially nowadays with self-tape. You don't go into the room, you don't get to meet people. Classes are online on Zoom now. Like you're
Mm,
missing that human interaction. You're missing that community that we were so lucky to build before the pandemic. Like
right.
imagine trying to do that now. So quickly I just wanted to really emphasize that point because it's super important. But you asked about my process, how I approach
Mm-hmm.
um, the roles and auditions that I get. And I think it changes and it really depends on on the role. Um, I something that stays in my mind whenever I approach any tape though is no recipes, whatever works. And that was
Yeah.
something that Anthony really drilled into our minds.
Right.
And at first, when I took his class, I didn't understand what he was saying. I was like, no recipes. Well, like, you're here. Like, I thought you were going to teach me how to act. I thought you were going to give me step by step. That organization mind in me, you know? Like, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, here's step one, step two, step three. And you learn very quickly that's not how this works. Every body is different, every person is different. So, how you approach the work, how you feed yourself will, of course, be different.
Mm,
And different roles call for different things. So, when I read a script or when I receive a script, I read it through and then I like read it again. I read it over and over and over again. Um, and just like I kind of like try to understand what's going on in the scene. because sometimes I have a tendency to fall into a line read, like I'm reading my own lines, thinking
Mm.
this is how it's supposed to sound, you know? But
Ah, okay.
what I've found is that if I read it over and over and over again, kind of like that repetition, I lose the voice of how this line is stereotypically supposed to sound. And I find the actual meaning of the scene. Um,
So
and
real
sometimes
quick,
if it's a co-star, yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
real quick.
go
So
ahead.
when you say you read it over again, you just read it quietly to yourself, or do you read
Aloud,
it out loud? Okay, cool.
aloud, aloud.
And
Yeah. So
do you
I'll
read
even,
all your lines? Do you read the stage direction? To walk me through how you read that.
yeah. So I'll walk you through step by step. I receive the sides. Um, I I download it because I'm like, I need to save this in case it goes somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, and then I print it out and I like read from the very beginning the stage directions, even the things that say like FYI only, like sometimes they'll have a start and this is where the scene starts for you to audition. But I always read the background. Whatever is on the page, I'll read it out loud to myself for the first time. I'll write about like my first impressions, like what did I think about it? And they can just be words like cool, interesting, didn't love that. Like, um, this reminds me of XYZ. And then I'll read it again. And then I'll put it down. I'll pick it up. I'll read it again. I'll read it again. I'll read it again. This is what I'm finding works best for me. And then I'll highlight my lines. I'll take it off the page. I'll take a break from it if I have the gift of time. If not, like I'll take it off the page. I'll take it off the page and then say the meaning of like what I think that line means, and then read it
Mm.
again. And then it kind of awakens something in you because when you tell yourself, oh, this is what it means, and then you say a line, that feeling, that meaning sticks with you and it kind of comes out in the next way you say the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. So what I'm hearing is
Uh,
you read it over and over and over to get like an overview and try to parse out what you're identifying just reading the text. Is that what it is? Like the facts of
yeah,
what's actually happening.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. What I did before, don't recommend, highly do not recommend this, is I would just read my lines. I'd be like, oh, this is what I'm going to say. This is what the other person's going to say to prompt me to say my line. I don't need the context. But that doesn't help because where do your lines come from? Nowhere. It's just your lines don't mean anything. You're just saying you're repeating what you're reading. And that's not our job. Our job is to tell a story. And in order to do that, we have to understand the story. So reading the line, reading the whole sides out loud helps me personally do that to understand this is what's going on. Um, this is how I feel about these lines, what I think it means to me. And then I'll tape myself. Um, and I found for myself that I will drive myself insane if I tape one scene like 50 times.
Mm,
That's like not helpful for my own process.
okay.
I like try to tell myself, okay, if I'm going into the room like I were to audition for a casting director, I only have one, maybe two shots of doing this. So like I treat it as such. When I'm taping at home for myself,
Mm,
I will give myself two takes and I'll be like, the third one is a fuck it take. Like, do the first two how you prepared it, how you think it's supposed to go, and then the third one, like, throw it away. Like, there's no stakes in this last one. Just have fun. And those last takes are usually the ones that I end up sending, and typically the ones that also book. And my theory behind that is that like you are the most free. You're like not planning out how the scene is supposed to go. You were just like, you've already done the work, you've already done the pre-work, it's already in you. Now you're like letting yourself play. Um, so that's typically my process. But it depends, like I said, on the kind of role it is, on the kind of project it is, like whether it's film, TV, um, like the size of the role, if it's co-star, guest star, series reg. Um, I've found actually, I've heard from a casting director that for TV specifically, um, the smaller roles usually require you to follow the most rules. And what she means by that is that when you have a co-star role, these are your six and under lines in a television. It's usually like a waiter or the nurse. You have one line like, do you want the check? Those roles are designed to move the story forward. So they have the most rules that you need to follow. You don't want to make a meal out of these lines. Like you don't want to be the certain type of waiter that's like um boisterous and funny. No, you're a waiter. You're there to tell do the line and then you move on. Um when you have a guest star or a co-star or sorry, series regular, that's where the rules of like sticking to the script or sticking to just moving the story forward doesn't quite apply because now you have the chance to make these roles your own. You get to play more. You these in a guest star, the episode is about you in this as a series reg. You run the show. So like what this casting director was saying is that typically when she casted those projects, she saw that the actors that took the most liberties in making those characters their own, not having to follow whatever preconceived notion that they had of who this character is, they ended up getting it because they were like, this is how I'm going to take this story
Mhm.
if you book me. Um, so that's my process and also what I've learned that help influence me as I go into the next project, that there are certain rules for certain characters, but then when you have the opportunity for those bigger roles, play, let go, like show them who you are, because that will ultimately um, make you feel better and could end up booking you the role.
Was that an attitude that you had from the beginning or something you had to learn?
Oh my God, something I had to learn. Um, Absolutely not. I think in the beginning, I took every single audition so seriously. I held on to it as if it were my own
Mm.
already. And that wasn't a healthy way to look at it. Like I've straight out bawled over like not getting booked for a role
Wow.
that I really wanted, like I think because I held on so tightly, I already thought like this is mine. Like I got this opportunity. Like it's going to be mine for sure. Like I know
Mm.
it. I know it. Um, but it's not, like these auditions are yours. They're your opportunity to make whatever you want within the confines of course, the context of the scene, but it's something I've definitely had to learn, and it took me a very long time to learn it and understand that like, these roles are not yours until you book it. Um, and when you reframe it in that way that like I get to play in this character for this amount of time and then I let it go. Um, it's been a healthier mindset, I guess. And another thing I do just in my process, on along the lines of letting it go, I rip up my sides as soon as I'm done taping. I'm like, this is it. I'm done. Just that to really emphasize the point that this is not mine. I never owned it. Like I did my work. It's up to whoever, makes the decisions now, but it's out of my hands, and so I try to forget.
Beautiful. If someone is struggling with that and kind of finds himself in that death spiral, what is maybe a practical way that you maybe can give us where they can begin to un unwind themselves up, like so they can start to eventually work themselves to be a little bit more detached from the outcome?
It's hard. I think
Mhm.
it's definitely a hard thing to convince yourself of because as actors, we really want to work and we really want to
Mhm.
play and we take our job seriously. Um, I think what I would say to that is if you're upset, let yourself feel upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like let that release from your body. Because if you don't, you hold that tension with you. Like I think our body remembers
Mm.
experiences, and when you're unable to let it go, they manifest in a different way. Um, so let yourself be upset. Like, okay, then ask yourself, like, what am I gonna do about it now? Like, there's nothing I can do. It's out of my hands. Let's move on to the next one. What about this did I not like that I was doing? And then try to change that one aspect. Like, give yourself the grace of understanding that, like, things happen, they don't go your
Mm-hmm.
way. Feel bad about it, but don't get stuck there. Like, move forward because you can't go back.
I love that. So that, and it's a very adult, very mature way to look at it, you know? No, and it's true because I think that there is a difference between being childlike and childish. I've met a lot of
Mm.
childish creatives, uh, but I think it's more important to be childlike in sense of
Mm.
being open to the play, like you said in the play, but take certain things, like look at it from an adult lens. Like let's be a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more practical, and maybe that's where your sort of Excel sheet mindset is coming into play. Like because you're dealing with numbers, there's data, right? Like I noticed this when I started a business and I had to like put numbers into a screen and the numbers represented real shit in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like before, everything was like airy fairy. I'm like, how do I feel about, whatever? And I'm putting on a mask and
Yes.
I'm whatever and I'm in costume. But then when I like had to put numbers on a screen, I was like, that number's been zero for a very long time and I don't like it. I was like, that's
Right?
zero, that's 8 zeros in a row, and I'm not having a good day. Because numbers don't
Exactly.
lie. They don't lie. It's like, this is what it is. That's what, whatever. I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's a very mature way you have to look at it. It's very grounded. And I think that's super important because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And everything you're saying about like,
Yes.
this is the one, I think most actors have fucking had that conversation. And
Yeah.
many are still having it.
Yeah. I think to your point of like this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? Like, um, I took a yoga class today. Outside of like that's what I also use to help get myself zen. And I was reminded that yoga is a practice. There is no
Mm,
endpoint. There is no peak to reach. It's not a competition. And I thought of that in the context of acting. Like, there is no peak to reach. There is no one mountain that we all climb. Every path is different, and it will be different every day. And what I mean by that is that you set that path. You set where your limit is, right? Um, I like if your goal is to be a movie star with like $100 million box office, like that's what you're reaching to, but that's what your goal or path or practice is leading to. But else who is also a working actor could be like, well, I just want to do indies and I'm done. I just want to do one or two, and then like, that's my path as an actor. What I'm trying to say, I think, is that like it's a practice. There's no marathon there. I'm sorry, it's a marathon. It's something you continuously have to work at. There will
right.
never be an end where you're like, okay, I've reached it. I'm an actor. I'm done with being an actor because I've made that one movie that has launched my career. No, like that's great. You've done that. Are you looking towards the next thing? Like, am I making sense?
No, you're making total sense. I think the practice thing, in terms of like, you mentioned yoga, which is an Eastern tradition. I think that and I used to
Mm,
train in martial arts myself. And there was something that I always appreciated about martial arts that I don't think is necessarily present in the Western mindset. There's a lot of really great things in the Western mind, but the notion of
Mm.
practice, of just the thing, doing the thing, right? Like if you're making a samurai sword, it's not about the finished sword. It's the every time you beat that metal and you put it in the heat and then you put it in the water and
Yes.
you beat it some more and you temper it it's the act of tempering. I remember there was this documentary about the making of a katana, and it was just a 47-minute documentary, and I was enthralled watching this guy make this sword. But then I realized, I was like, first of all, the dude's probably happier than anybody I've ever fucking met, because he's doing the thing that he was trained and what loves to do. But his
Right.
pleasure, it seemed to me, or I projected, was in the beating of the metal, the heating of the metal, the
Mm.
beating of the metal, the tempering of the metal, and then going back and doing that process.
Yes. Yes.
and
Excuse me.
and no, and I just think it's so much healthier to look at it that way, because then you're not. I think we need to have some sort of a target, but if we find pleasure in the practice, in the daily practice, then the other shit doesn't matter as much, almost, right? Like I don't
Right.
know about how you think about
Yes.
it, but that's how I perceive it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's also what I was trying to get at. I think it's the practice. You continually go back to it. Everything, every day will be a little different, but like this is what you find joy in doing. This is like this
Mm,
is the goal.
right.
Acting, practicing, fine-tuning your instrument. The bookings and the jobs, like that's great. That's your target. But your practice um is really where the joy comes from.
Do you give yourself permission to practice even when you're not getting bookings consistently?
Do I give myself permission to practice? What do you mean by that?
Meaning, we practice when we get an audition, or like we're going through the whole process. But some weeks we might get one audition, some weeks we might get five, some weeks we don't get any. Do you give yourself
Yeah,
permission when auditions aren't necessarily coming in to practice, to something?
absolutely.
What kind of stuff do you do to keep
Yeah.
yourself sharp and to keep yourself in the mood?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. I think it's super important. And I I try I have this book of like it's like 221 monologues for women.
Mm,
And I will sometimes um pick it up and like take a monologue off the page. Like I'll read the line in my mind. I'll look away, try to like feel like whatever I felt from reading that line, I'll say, I'll repeat the line and like hopefully that meaning comes through. Um, I'll do that for like a week. Like I'll go back to the same monologue and take it off the page throughout the week, just as a way to like practice. It's something super small.
mm,
Doesn't take a lot of time, but like it helps me, I think one, like memorize lines quicker and easier because I'm like constantly looking back. And then it helps me access whatever it is in my instrument more easily as well because I'm constantly a little like checking in with it when I'm
mm-hmm.
taking lines off the page so that when a script when a tape does come through and I do that like I'll take it off the page, it comes more easily, it comes a little quicker, and I'm able to like turn in that tape a little quicker too. um, Now I think
Sorry, just
like
so you're sorry. So
yeah,
I just wanted to touch on something real quick. You said you're checking in. What do you mean by you're checking in with it? What's actually going on for you then?
I so I think acting is um what is it? Self-suggesting, right? Like I'm suggesting these imaginary circumstances to myself and believing that it's true.
Mm,
And when I'm checking in with that part of what I mean by I'm taking things off the page and then trying to find meaning, I think what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to elicit that part of my imagination of whatever these lines that are written for me are saying.
mm,
Like, what does this line mean to me?
Okay.
And am I able to bring it out? Um, um, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like super dead and it doesn't work. And I'm just like reading these lines and I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like, and I repeat the line. Or like some days I'm reading a monologue and I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this time with my mom, and then I'll repeat the line and that like kind of comes through. So I'm tapping
Mm.
into my imagination or I'm tapping into a lived experience. And that's kind of what I mean when I'm checking in.
Wow. Your imagination, your lived experience. Is that something that you always do you find yourself having access to that readily, or is it something sometimes you got to kind of dig around in there to kind of figure out how it's going to come out?
No, I think that's why I say it's self-suggestive, right? Because I'm suggesting things in myself to try to elicit whatever is deep down, right?
Mm.
Like if it's a sad scene, I'm like suggesting things to myself like, oh, like, you know, is it this time that I saw my grandma in the hospital? Like, is that working for me today? No, not really. Is it like, um, could it be um could it be some another family member that's maybe going through some things? Or is it another time that I actually experienced that that is really bringing whatever is deep down in my instrument out to play? Or is it something completely imaginary? Am I like, okay, like my husband's just died. I'm left alone. Is that coming out? Yep, it works. Let's go with that. Um, so that's how I will play.
Beautiful. What is your say we get I don't know, you get like 4 pages, which is probably the average audition you're getting right now. Is it 4 pages?
I've had 4 pages for before, but I'm gonna say not right now, but it will be the standard moving forward.
Well, let's say 4 pages, right? And say a 72-hour turnaround.
Okay,
Which
yeah.
generally is kind of what it is. I mean, if you're gonna get 4 pages, sometimes they give you a week. But
Uh,
if from the minute you get the sides to the minute you send it through, how long does it take you to go through everything and then actually send it through to them?
um, I think this also depends. Sometimes if it's 4 pages and I'm like really feeling like this character is something I can easily tap into, I can maybe have a 24 to 48-hour turnaround time.
Mm,
Maybe sometime sooner, but if it's something that like feels very foreign to me, maybe it's a character I'm not as comfortable playing, like I don't know, like a tough chick. Yeah, I'm like the epitome of tough, right? Like, yeah, no, absolutely not. That
you could definitely play a tough
um
chick, Katie Kong. I've seen you play other shit that I was like, there's no what she did it. Okay.
no. Um, Thank you.
I've seen you
But
play
those
so
are
many characters. You definitely could play a tough chick. The
but I think
hood rat and the vampire, like on the juxtaposition is, I was like, okay, this girl could play anything. Yeah, she's good.
oh my God. Well, A Money says, or Anthony says, the universe lives inside of us.
Yes, it does.
Some of those characters just are a little bit harder to dig out.
Correct. Yeah.
And that tough one, that tough chick one. Um, I think for those more difficult uh things to access, I will turn something in the day that it's due.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I need to, because at the end of the day, I want to submit my best work. And if
Sure.
it will take me that amount of time of the deadline, then, I'll use it. Um, I think there are different schools of thought on that. Like some people like to turn it in immediately. Like they receive it, they do it, and maybe their process is quick enough where they do it, where
Mm,
that's like that works for them. And so I'd say like me, find what works best for you because something that works for me might not translate as well to someone else.
Is there anything that someone maybe can do to speed up that process, or is it just sort of you kind of just got to figure it out?
Um, I think you just got to figure it out, to be honest. What helps, I think, um, is definitely memorizing lines. Like, if anything, um, I've gotten really good at memorizing lines. I think
Mm,
from reading, from taking things off the page and like reading monologues and sides of like shows that I find interesting. Um, that has helped me improve my ability to memorize um, a lot quicker, and that really helps, especially when you're given 4, sometimes 7 pages of a of an audition.
I love it. Um, so you worked with management. Who are you working with currently, and how long have you been working together?
Yeah, I have a manager. She is fantastic, Melissa Young Management.
Yeah.
Um, I signed with her right um, right during the pandemic. It was 2020,
Okay.
which is wild because you would think that like 2020 pandemic, nothing's going on, but that was actually a really good year for some reason. I think people were trying to still create content and they were figuring out ways to do so virtually. Like during the pandemic, I had booked something and it was filmed completely from home. Like we were sent iPhones to film on, some light setups, and like it was the wildest experience I have ever had, and I was super grateful for it because they also sent costumes and they sent like artwork, because they wanted you to like put your space in however they, in their production design.
Mm,
So it was pretty cool. But Melissa's been great. Highly recommend her. And then I just got signed to DDO in the Southeast. So I'm in the
congratulations.
Southeast market. Thank you.
And so I know that Melissa Young. I have several friends, and you and I have several mutual friends that have worked with her, that are signed with her. I have at least, I think it was like 7 friends that are on her roster.
Yep.
All monster actors, and from what I hear, they all say the same thing. She's extraordinary. So I look
Yes.
forward to eventually, at some point, hopefully being able to work with her because she's pretty
Oh yeah.
phenomenal. Um, Walk us through a little bit, like how you navigate, either if somebody doesn't have sort of reps, how they navigate going, how they go about getting reps, like if they don't have any, or if maybe they have reps that things aren't necessarily working for them, how can they go about building the sort of relationships to transition maybe to another agency?
Yeah. I'll address your first question first. So like how does
Okay.
someone who's new get reps
Mm-hmm.
when they don't have a body of work to show for, they're new, they're green, like they're just starting out? Um, we've all been there. Like it's tough. Like you want to work, but you're like, how do I do this? Who do I reach out to? I need to be represented in order to get work. Um, I'll just say that if you don't have work, if you're like fresh, you're new, get into an acting class,
Mm,
would be my first suggestion because you first learn the craft. You understand like how to act, what to do, and the community that you meet with, that you build in class will, I think, going back to an earlier point, like you'll find your cohort who will also motivate you and give you tips and help you kind of um, with their reps or their projects, or someone is casting something and they're like, oh, well, I think you'd be a good fit for that. That's your network where you can start building connections and maybe someone will recommend you for something to get started in. So first, I'd recommend getting into classes. If you're already there, try casting websites like Backstage. Like stalked that website when I first started I started out. I was like, okay, like I don't have photos. Okay, I'm gonna take a photo of myself and I'm just gonna like put it up there. Here are the skills that I have. Like I tried to beef up my resume, even though I had nothing. I was like, I can act. Um, here are my skills. And I literally just like submitted and applied for anything and everything that I thought I'd be a good fit for.
Mm,
Um, and and from there I like booked some projects, got some footage, made connections there, and they remembered me for other things um that they made down the line. So casting backstage was one of the websites that I like hunted for jobs on, as well as Facebook groups. Don't knock it. Sometimes those projects are pretty good. And you really never know. But your goal, I think, starting out is you want to get on set and you want to have those experiences, so that you know how things work when you book those larger roles, like when you
mm,
actually um, when you're called onto a network set, when you're called onto a major film set, like you want to build up that experience. So classes, stock those casting websites. There are a ton of them, um, that I can't think of the top of my head, but backstage. And then once you have that, um, reach out to managers and agents that you think align with where your goals are. First, like understand what your goal is. Like, are you mostly going to theater? Is that where you want to head to? So target a manager or agent that that specializes in that, whose client list has a ton of who is working in the theater. If you want film TV, look at their roster on IMDb. Are they targeting, or are they working on shows that you would want to be on? Um, and then pitch yourself in that way to these managers or agents. Hey, like, be like, I'm a female male, in this age range. I, you know, I can play a cop really well. Like, here's a tape, that I did. Thank you for your time. Something like that. When I started, I didn't have any work to show. So that's what I did to Melissa. I sent her just like a pitch of me. And I shared a self-tape that I did. And I heard back like right away, and she was like, this was great. Like, I doesn't normally happen this quickly, but like I'd love to work with you. And I was like, let's go. Um, so that's my recommendation. Class, casting websites, pitch yourself, understand the direction that you want to go, and then pitch yourself in that way to agents and managers. And then just keep working at it. It may not happen right away. Like, this is a tough industry. There's a ton of competition. But understand that like things take time, but work at it. It takes work. To answer your second question of maybe you're in a situation where um, the relationship you currently have isn't what you expected. Um, I think these conversations are a bit trickier to handle.
mm,
Um, but what I've found, and kind of what I've heard from other actors going through this experience, honesty is always the best policy. Um, I think like I think you always want to be upfront about what it is that you want, what it is that you think you're not getting, um, and then have a conversation about it. I think I think that it's tough. I don't quite have the best guidance for this scenario.
mhm.
Um, but I would say like just try to be honest with yourself. If it isn't working out, try exploring other options. Um, and always, if you are to end a relationship, do it respectfully. Um, like and uh, yeah, as respectfully and calmly as you can, because this is a small industry.
Yeah.
People have long memories. Um, And things have a way of falling out, but I guess that's what I'd say to that. I don't have the best recommendation or the best guidance on that, but honesty is best policy. Try to work it out in a respectful way. That's what I'd say.
I think it's pretty solid. It's the older I get, the more I realize basically the shit we learned in kindergarten is kind of the rule for how to navigate.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like manners, please and thank you, be
Hmm.
kind, share your toys,
Yeah.
right? Like, make friends, make up if you get upset. Like, it's really all the simple
Right.
shit, right? Like, sometimes you need a nap, and that's okay.
That's
Sometimes you
okay.
need a timeout. You're fine. I like, I like, I learned. I used to be a substitute teacher. I was a substitute for 8 months,
Oh
and
gosh.
most of the time was well, it was about a year, but it split up. But like most of the people were middle schoolers or middle school kids. But I remembered
Mm.
that I had to sub. I got to sub, I should say, like a bunch of like, kindergarten kids, and it
Oh.
was it was fucking incredible. Like anyone who doesn't like, I don't know, they were like super well behaved, super chill. They just wanted to color and like live their lives. It was great. I was
Yes.
like, I'm gonna hang out with you guys. You guys are doing more for me than I'm doing for you. I'm just letting you know right now because it's crazy out there, man. But
It's wild.
I just remember like, I remember this like one little girl. She's all of a sudden started getting upset, and like I freaked out because I'm like in this class. I was like, what happened? And one of the kids like pointed at her. She's like, "Sir, Mister, she's crying." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, okay." And like I went over to her and I tried to figure out like what was going on. She wasn't really in the mood to sort of talk. And I'm like, "Okay, well," I was like, "Do you want me to just? Is it okay if I just sit here with you?" While she was like crying, and she's like, "Okay." And I just like sat there. She cried it out for a good 3 minutes. Then she like sniffled, and then I was like, Is you good? Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm okay." And then I just like went back to what I was doing. But I was like, I don't know. I learned, first of all, the kids were like all looking out for one another. And then I also learned like she just needed to cry it out and just needed to know that somebody was
Mm.
there. And then she's just kept it moving. I don't
Yeah.
know what the point of that story was, but I don't know, whatever you said just now about like kindergarten, like sometimes it's simple things. It's simple
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that lead to success. We overcomplicate it. We take too many classes or read too many books. But at the end of what you were just saying, basically, now I know what you were just saying. Basically, is like exact. You're like, I don't know if I have good advice, but that's pretty good. Like, be honest, be respectful. People
Yeah.
have long memories. All of that shit is true. Um, and it's really solid advice.
I think what
Uh,
I was trying to get at,
Go ahead.
sorry, is that first of all, I love that story of you. I can like just picture you, this like big buff guy, in an elementary like or in a kindergarten classroom being like sitting next to this
She
giant
was
buff dude sitting
this little
next to
girl.
this tiny.
She was so small.
I love that. That picture will live in my mind forever. But I think you just also reminded me of the point that I was trying to get at. It's just that this is an industry of relationships. So even if something isn't working out, you have to find a way to navigate difficult situations in a kind and respectful way. Because at the
Mm,
end of the day, I think everyone is doing their best.
right.
Um, and that can be really hard to remember when everything feels like the stakes are really high for you, like you have your
Mm,
own personal goal, and I think the easy thing would be to lash out or be like, or to blame someone and or whatever. But like at the end of the day, like take a minute, take a good cry, let it out, and remember, go back to the basics. Everything will work out in the end if you work at it and if you're kind and respectful. It's a business of relationships. Build the best that you can around you, and things will, I hope, I believe, fall into place.
beautiful. So you've been cast in 7 co-star roles. Can you name some of the ones that you did? It's a big deal. No, it's like a big deal. I'm gonna keep saying it. You are the queen of co-stars. And soon you'll be the queen of
Thank
recurring,
you.
the regent of recurring.
Oh, the regent of recurring. I like that. Yes, I've done. You know what? I like bristle a little bit when you say a Queen of Costars because I'm like I still can't believe it myself, and it feels like such a I don't know. I guess it feels like a small win, but you're right. It's a win. I should be celebrating it. But I've done quite a few, and I'm very grateful. Like I feel very blessed to have been able to do them. I've booked Billions, Westworld, Elsbeth, and Poker Face is the most recent one. American Horror Story, Law and Order, Organized Crime, and there might be New Amsterdam. Um, I think I may have forgotten a few, but um, it's super nice uh, to be on set when you're
Mm.
not the main star. Like to have I will say like it's great. I want to be, of course, everyone wants to be like the series reg or the
Right.
guest star, but there's also something really special about when the stakes are low for you as the co-star too.
Mm.
Um maybe I shouldn't phrase it that way, but there's something really special about being the one to watch the lead take charge of the scene. It's I think to give you an example, in the most recent booking I did for Poker Face, my scene was with Natasha Lyonne, and
Mhm.
she's the main star of the show. Um, and I played a woman at a coffee shop with a baby, and her scene was coming to me. Her face is like right into my baby's face, and I was like, excuse me. Um, but what was really nice is I got to sit there in my mark and watch her as they filmed her multiple um, shots of her scene. And I got to watch how she took command of the set, how she worked with the director and the DP to kind of not mark, but yeah, mark um, how she was going to work and work with the camera because the director wanted a certain angle, but she gave her input and how she thought it should go too. And just
Mm.
to watch her work, sit there and watch her work was an incredible um, learning moment for myself as well. Because it's true, what it reminded me of is that this is truly a collaborative art. Um, as actors, you kind of think, okay, like, or maybe it's just myself. I kind of went into this thinking, I'm gonna be given my lines, and then I'm gonna be told this is my part in the story, and that's all I have to do. But to see various actors really like make this a collaborative thing because you're giving a part of yourself and how you think this character is supposed to go in the story. Um, and your ideas alongside the director, the producers, whoever else is making this story possible. It's truly a collaborative type of art form um, that that I think can be easily missed or forgotten. And so I think that's what's really cool about these co-star roles that I've booked. I've been able to one get on set, which is always fun, work as an actor, but
Yeah.
also see how collaborative all of these sets are, and they are run a little differently, but depending on the actor and depending on the lead. But that's been really exciting to see that it isn't just here's your mark, here's your lines, this is what you do. It's here are your lines, here's your character. You know, what else do you think? What else do you bring to the table? What else like what is your vision? What is your contribution to this story? And they may use it, they may not, but have an opinion, have a viewpoint, and I think that will carry you far.
And this is something that you carry over from the audition already, or this is something that does it shift when you actually get on set?
Um, it shifts when I get on set, I think.
In
What do you
what way?
mean?
Well, that's something that I've heard from some others. Well, have a point of view basically during the audition, but there's auditioning, which is a different skill
Mm,
set than doing the work when you're actually hired. Those are two different things.
mm.
There are people that are really good auditors, and they're not so great when they get cast. The people that aren't great auditors, but when they get cast, it's like something happens.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think I keep saying this, it depends. But it truly does. It depends. I think I have a viewpoint when I have a viewpoint when I'm auditioning, and then when I get to set, depending on the role, depending on like the project, um, I may be told something different, and then that's how I will play it. I think as like an example, I booked the Hat Man, and I had this my viewpoint of the character, and the way that I played this character is what got me the role. But on set, um, I was given an adjustment, um, and it was completely different from how I auditioned. So I think it's a little of both. You have your viewpoint, and then you can take your viewpoint with you to set, but you have to be ready to take an adjustment on the day when it happens. Things might change. So be flexible, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Make a decision, but be flexible enough to pivot when necessary.
Yes. Ooh, great, great summary.
I love it. Great. Well, what would you say to somebody who maybe hasn't booked the co-star yet, but is like really wants to hit that milestone? And I know for you, you want more because we all want more. But to
Of
that one actor
course.
who hasn't gotten on set yet, what would you say to them?
Um, I would say, hmm, I would say don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounds easier said than done, but I think maybe what I'd add to that is don't take it personally. I think um you do the work, and if it's good, you're gonna get called back into the room, and then one day you're gonna book it. But don't take no as a definitive no, just take it as a not yet. Like rejection is I think God's protection. So when something doesn't go your way, you haven't booked it yet, it just means that that role wasn't right for you. But your role will come if you keep working at it, if you don't give up. So that's what I would say to that. There's no magic, unfortunately, but I think if it's something you really want, if it's something you're really working towards getting, um, then it will come to you. What's meant for you won't miss you. So
Sage advice. I'm putting half of what you say on t-shirts and I'm going to sell it. So,
sweet, sweet. We can
yeah.
split the profits.
Yeah, I'll give you a percentage. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna cut you out of that deal. I got you. So before we wrap up here, what's next for you? What's on the docket for you?
Yeah, I have a commercial coming out soon. Some people said that they've seen it, but that's the fun of commercials. You really never know when
Yeah,
they come out.
yeah.
It's for Lidl. If you see it, share
For
it my
Lidl,
way. For Lidl, the grocery store.
never heard of it.
No, okay, well, it's a grocery store.
No, I believe you.
Um,
I just is it a regional? Is it in North Carolina or is it a national chain?
I think it may be a regional.
Okay,
I've seen it on the East Coast and in the South. So,
nice.
um, that's coming out. I've had some really exciting auditions. I'm superstitious, so I won't say too much, but
Okay.
um, hopefully those come. But what I like to say to that question, what's next, is nothing yet, but something good. Something good is on the way.
That's another t-shirt. Thank you very much. Oh, ladies and
Sweet.
gentlemen.
That's gonna be your like fifth business of the multiple businesses that you have. It'll be just add it on.
The t-shirt business, the merch, get it on the bottom of the
The
YouTube
merch.
channel.
Yeah, love it.
Awesome. Katie Kong, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being you. And I feel very lucky to know you. And hopefully the audience gets to know you a little bit better. Thank you.
Sweet. We'll right back at you. If anyone wants to find me, you can find me at Katie Kong at Instagram or on Instagram. Um, Otherwise, it's been super great, Laris. You're fantastic. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having me on.
All right. I'm going to include Katie's stuff all in the description down below. So thank you. Bye, Katie.